Greg, the truth, bro. I want the truth about you, the man, the myth, the legend. What is the truth? Something about Greg Salo that we don't know. Amazing. Nothing.
Exactly. That's the best part.
That is the best part because you're the best
around. Nothing can ever keep you down.
We just totally botched that. If you don't know, that's Karate Kid, people. All right, bro. I think this is a really important episode to get in down and dirty into this because there's a lot of myths. There's a lot of information out there. Electric filing. First things first. I want to say, like, just to give some context here. We were one of the earliest first companies, right? You were one of the first people to be electric filing back in the day. And do you remember, dude, when it was like...
I was criticized for it.
Oh my God. Heavily, right?
Yeah, I was absolutely, criticized beyond belief because when we were teaching at trade shows, we were no joke, probably the only company. So there were companies that were selling e-files or, drills, right?
Right.
A lot of people were calling them drills. And if you wanted to get information, you had to go to those booths, right, to get information about those e-files or bits that they were selling. But there was no nail company that was actually using an electric file behind the station while they were working. Everyone was hand filing.
Yeah, these were like separate manufacturers that made the files that had information, but
correct.
No nail companies really.
No,
yeah, exactly.
You will never. This is again, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, like early 2000s. It was very rare to find a professional nail company that's actually using an electric file behind the station.
Correct.
Well, we changed that.
Yes. And a lot of it was, there was this myth, and I mean, it still kind of lingers today, but I want to address this myth first. It was really bad back then, but hey, if I go to a nail salon and the tech pulls out an electric file, oh my gosh, my nails are going to get destroyed and damaged, right? There's this myth that electric files cause damage.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, there was a lot of, I would say, unqualified people that were using them just to kind of speed things up. And because of improper training, damage could happen, just like using a hand file if you don't have the right damage. So, one of the things I've always preached, it's not the tools that do damage, it's the fools that do damage, right? So,
exactly.
If you put an electric file into somebody that has zero training and does not know how to use it, then something could happen. Again, same with a hand file. If you just hand somebody a hand file and they don't know how to file, right? Because we were always taught, when I was going through school, I was always taught that in order to prepare the natural nail or the enhancement for a fill, you had to use the hand file to basically file away any of the lifted area. It's virtually impossible to get a surface area that big because you're talking a surface area this wide,
right?
Almost an inch wide, right, to a centimeter, right? A real small area of barely maybe half a centimeter of lifting, right? To be able to get that hand file, a two-dimensional surface around a three-dimensional area, and then
that's this big. This big.
Not only that, but most people then would just resort to using some type of a clipper or a nipper to just break it off the back of the nail. The only way to remove it properly is you have to have an electric file, right? Not a drill.
Right.
Again, we don't use drills. If you want to drill, go to Home Depot, buy yourself a block of wood and a bucket of screws, and you can practice drilling all day long.
Seriously.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
I'm drilling for oil.
Totally, bro.
I wish I was drilling for oil.
I wish I was too, man. Be rich.
But with the right bits, now before we invented the safety bit.
Yeah.
The only bits that we had available were basically a sharp edge, and we would use those to cut out the lifting. And then once it gets close enough to the natural nail, it doesn't have to get all the way to the natural nail, then you'll be able to flick it out without creating a line.
Right.
I was taught that. Kathy taught me how to do that. You know, she was one of my mentors, showed me how to use an e-file. And in the beginning, I was the same exact way. I was like, I don't know if I should use this. You know, like I was always taught that it's bad. And she was like, dude, like, what planet are you from?
Yes.
I've been using this for 20 years.
And it's good.
I've never had all my customers have zero damage to their natural nails. It's not about becoming faster. One of the most important aspects of learning how to electric file properly is it's going to basically prolong your career, because when you're working behind a station and you're doing repetitive motion, if you're doing this all day long, right? Again, repetitive motion to your wrist can lead to carpal tunnel syndrome. The same can cause, it could lead to it, right? So the least amount of repetitive motion with our wrists, the chances are that not only are you going to have less problems with your wrists, you're also going to have less problems with your shoulders and your back. I mean, it's the total ergonomics behind basically a prolonged nail career.
Well, it's the best comparisons like, okay, dude, I'm a carpenter and I only use a hammer and I'm literally like, you hire me on the job. Well, you're going to have to be patient because I don't believe in using
I only hammer, bro.
Dude, I don't believe in using an automatic like nail gun, you know, because it's going to damage me. It's going to hurt me. It's like, I'm going to like, no,
I go the old school way, bro.
Dude, that's how you do it. It's the same thing, bro. Is it not the same thing? It is. It's like I can do damage with a hammer. I mean, there's a lot of serial murders out there that have done damage with hammers. Like, of course. And a nail gun, of course. But you got to be I'm just saying, bro, like you could really do some damage. Now, the thing is if you're trained properly with an electric file, as a result of you're going to save your wrists, you know, your service is going to be more clean. Outside of that, though, one of the benefits is that it just saves time. But it does that on its own. You don't have to try, right? Like, it's just going to happen.
You are using your electric file to remove the majority of the bulk so that it leads to you using your hand file the least amount of time.
Right.
You still have to use your hand file to get the tight area around the cuticle area. You still have to use your hand file to refine it into precision and perfection. But again, right, like you're not going to do it all with a hand file.
Right.
That would take you 20, 30 minutes.
Dude, removing bulk with a hand file, I can't even imagine that, bro.
I mean, think about it. Like you can't, okay, then again, that's just finishing a full set.
Right.
What happens when the customer comes back in 3 to 4 weeks and you have to do maintenance? Maintenance, meaning you have to do fills, and you have to do backfills, rebalancing a smile line back to its original position. Dude, you can't. What are you going to depend on? Right. Acetone?
Right. Yes, I am, bro. It's so absurd.
We have this alter ego personality, right? That just wants to do it all the right way.
Dude, this is how we do things around here, buddy. This is the voice Greg and I use when it's like a ridiculous, kind of a ridiculous thing. So like that myth, I think today it is definitely more accepted. There are more companies out there that are using electric files.
Actually,
right?
All of them.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right?
And if you're not using an e-file behind the workstation, like you can go to any trade show right now and I guarantee that everybody has one behind their station. You have to. It's like, it's like, dude, I don't use an iPhone. I use a flip phone.
Dude, flip phones are it, bro. I'm telling you. Well, I mean, and I'm not bragging, okay? I'm not bragging, but the truth of the matter is we literally, I'm trying to think, like we were one of the few companies, if not the first, if I can remember, to really educate with an electric file.
Now, again, you're talking 2000.
Like 99, 2000, 2001. Yeah, exactly.
That was 23 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. But we were, and now it is everywhere. And I always say, Dude, we always try to stay ahead of the curve, and we've done that from the beginning when it comes to education, especially. You were the first person to do reverse technique.
I was taught by a lot of really good nail competitors.
Right.
And at the time when they were competing, electric files were not allowed to be used.
Right. In competition. That's right.
They weren't.
So crazy.
You could not use them. So, fundamental wise with a hand file, I feel that like I have really good hand filing skills.
Totally.
Because that's the way I learned. But man, did life become easier once I learned how to e-file.
Right, exactly.
And that's really what it comes down to. You're not electric filing from beginning to end. You're using it to reduce the thickness that you need so that you can basically hand file into perfection.
Yeah, so
in the least amount of time.
In the least amount of time, exactly. Now, dude, I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Because obviously technique is a thing.
Huge.
Okay, it's a huge thing, and we've seen different techniques with e-files. I've interestingly enough, I'm kind of like, I've been your guinea pig and Tracy's guinea pig for education because I'm kind of a beginner, and you guys can like show me stuff and then I try it and it's like, oh my God, this works. This doesn't work. One thing I've seen is the whole idea of when you start electric filing, going side to side versus one direction. I know I've tried it as a beginner and I know it works, but what's your take on this?
Everybody who learns to electric file that goes side to side, what ends up happening is you end up slipping around the world.
Right.
Right. So again, I've seen it. I've taught it for over 20 years. I have taught thousands of professionals how to use it. When I am starting with someone who has zero exposure, if they go side to side, dude, you give them a bit that has any type of grip to it, the bit slips around the edge.
It's very easy for that to happen.
Spin.
Right.
So if you're going and for those of you guys that get your nails done, for those of you who are nail enthusiasts who go get your nails, or just people out there that love nails, and you go get your nails done, you see a nail technician going side to side, it's probably because they have like really, really good balance, control,
right?
Where they're able to do that. But if you're learning how to use it, you have to go in one direction so the bit doesn't slip.
Correct.
Right? And you have to remember, when you're using the barrel, there are different zones to the barrel. There's not zone one.
Right. Dude, there's only one zone, bro.
There's not one zone.
Right.
There's 3 zones. You have the very tip, you have the center, and you have the bottom. So depending on where you're actually filing is going to determine what direction you're going to be moving. If you're going around the cuticle area, and again, you have to remember, this is when we were teaching this is pre-safety.
Right.
So imagine if you were using a bit that had a sharp edge. Dude.
Right.
Like
pre-safety bit. Right.
Go side to side.
Right. Yeah.
Go side to side with a bit that has a sharp edge and see what happens.
Yeah, it's not good.
Dude, if it catches that edge, spinning around completely.
Right.
So if you're working on one side, one zone, and you're working in one direction, all you need to do is put pressure. For those of you guys that are learning, right, the whole goal is to get your hand muscles and your coordination strong enough so that when you're using the handpiece, it feels like an extension of your hand or arm.
Right.
You don't want it to be loose. You don't want it to, you're not doing this feathering motion at the top. You have to be aggressive when you're trying to remove certain parts of the nail. So whether it is around the cuticle area or the upper arch or even the C curve, you have to be basically, you have to have the right pressure.
Yeah. I can say, dude, like when you guys put an electric file in my hand, and like we've done videos together, Pro Teaches Beginner, I've done videos with Tracy, and like it's the first time I'm holding the handle and got the bit and I'm ready to go. it's like, you're like, oh, I'm just kind of, you're a little tentative, and going in one direction gets me, bro, it gets me so comfortable with the e-file faster. When I've tried going like this, like on my own, and it's like, it's scary because it'll like, bzz, and it's like, oh my God.
Well, not only that, like, here's the thing. Like, if you were able to shape the nail perfect, then I can say, yeah, put a sanding band on.
Sure.
Sanding band, right? And you can go side to side. Again, switch it out to a really coarse carbide bit and try going side to side.
Why even take that risk? Like, just go one direction, be safe.
You're going
proper
to
technique.
You're going to absolutely be terrified as soon as that edge catches something and flips around and cuts your client.
Why even do, like, if you use technique of one direction, you're never going to worry about that.
The goal is to get you comfortable.
Exactly.
So that whatever stage you get to, our goal is to turn you into a nail ninja.
Right.
So in order to get to that level, you have to build confidence with the tools that you're working with in order to become comfortable, right? My recommendation is to start off going in one direction.
Yeah, just as a safety, it's good, safe precaution. Again, it's like if you give me a nail gun, it's like, dude, you should just shoot it in all directions. Like, well, no, how about we just start with one direction and not like spraying it all over the place as a nail gun. And then maybe when I'm a pro and I'm really, really, really good, I can
You're still not going to shoot from distance.
Not gonna shoot.
You're going to put it right up and just plug it in, dude.
100% pro. Safety first. I think it's just good technique and safe. And I think it's just a good thing to go by. And especially for a beginner, and I can vouch for it. With Greg showing me this, it's like, oh my God. And then you just put pressure, like you're not even doing anything. And then you actually feel it doing the work and you're like, oh, I see. Yeah. You start to feel it.
The most important tool in your arsenal is your electric file. Once you master that, right, you've laid down a fundamental to all the things that you're learning, especially like when it comes to doing finishing, which you're going to need during a full set as well as during fills, during maintenance. Like, if you have that down, I'm not joking, the level of confidence you're going to have in finishing all types of work, it doesn't matter whether it's acrylic, gel, hard gels, gel polish, you're going to be able to finish everything off with confidence 100%. And perfection.
Absolutely. Guys, let us know in the comments below any questions you have regarding electric filing. If we didn't cover it, let us know. We'd be happy to answer it. Awesome episode. Greg, thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Biz Talk.
Subscribe channel now. Subscribe channel now. Sub and subscribe it.